Thank you so much for watching my channel. My name is Rodrigo Jugulator Raquio, aka the InsomAniac, introducing my second album that actually I just completed for the InsomAniac project that I have, which is all based in atmospheric ambient music, like a soundtrack, drones, synthesizers, you name it. Like it goes in different styles for anything and everything. And the name of the album is called SpektRoom. As you can see right there on the cover artwork, and everything I did, that display, that one that you see over there is basically where you see the Insomniac Spectrum. On the red color is basically the front cover of what the album is gonna be. Hopefully soon enough it's gonna be printed out because I'm designing a special package for it. That is gonna be actually on Digipack available, right? And then I also have the back part over there. You see all the tracks. Actually, I have listed out for you guys to check out to exactly get familiar with what exactly what I'm playing. Now this album is actually a bit longer compared to what it was the first album that I released last year that is called Genesis. Um, except that Genesis it was 45 minutes and 30 seconds long, and this one is actually 48 minutes long, and it has more tracks compared to what it used to be the first album. The first album it had a total of 8 songs, and this one it has a total of 11 songs. And also the thing is the one thing that you're gonna find different. Actually, if you're familiar already with the first album, the way I finish the album is actually how I'm gonna start this new album, and then you're gonna notice a difference right away. Because what happens, like the whole idea is I try to make my albums conceptual, that there's a connectivity between one or the other. I don't like to throw songs just out of nowhere just because they sound good and they fit in and all of that, right? Right now, like a kind of a, and also I was going to say, yes, every time I'm releasing that album, I'm gonna give an explanation and speak about it because it's first of all, this is my creation, not yours. This is for me to you guys. I'm not asking anything in exchange. Like if you feel like you're making a donation to it and say, yeah, Rodrigo, we really like what you're doing. This help us an hour or something, right? Here, have a few bucks, send it over, right? Buy a coffee, whatever. But at the same time, I don't want to hear complaints after that says, "Oh my God, I thought you were going to play the music right away and stuff like that." No, I don't have to play you shit yet because what happens, I take a lot of pride on my work that I do, and basically I didn't consult anybody. This is all fully self-produced stuff. Actually, I didn't have to consult with anybody. I don't care what other people are doing out there. Of course, I listen to the music, but you know what? If I have to put attention to every single thing that everybody else is doing, then I shouldn't do for all of it, right? So the whole idea is I enjoy doing the music that I do, all of that, and of course, as you guys notice, there's a sentiment behind it. So have a little bit of respect in of requesting things from me instead of especially senseless stuff. Instead of actually like a kind of a demanding something that you were not even part of. All right, so take it as a gift. This thing, what I'm doing right now, you like it or not. It was made by myself, and the thing is, I didn't ask for the help for anybody. It's the same way I built up the my tiny little studio in my bedroom and all of that. You know what? I did it myself. I didn't ask for the help of anybody, and I'm still giving stuff for free. For people to basically to understand to share the sentiment of music because music is what it lasts forever, right? And yeah, so I don't mean to be harsh in that matter, but there were some comments that I received last year that actually they were kind of unexpected. I go well, why people would put more attention to some shit than the other? No, you understand the effort put behind this entire thing to put it all together and to write music is nothing it's not for everyone. All right. I'm not saying that it's super special about it as well. That I make it so great music composition, but shit, yeah, I'm really satisfied with the music that I make because I have so many variety of influences. So suck it up, Buttercup. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm gonna carry on with it because I already started to work on the third album. So even though that I had a very busy summer, I made sure, actually in the past winter, I was already ready, getting ready this album, for it to come out. But it wasn't fully ready because when I returned actually from my duties of work that I had to do because I work a seasonal job that goes from May until November. Once I started to pick up on things again on my time off, especially in December, I started to actually to elaborate more things. Actually, they work out much better for what I'm doing here, for my music, right? So the thing is that the important thing is that right now, like here we are going live. It's very simple. Like in kind of I give the instructions to everybody. Go to my profile. Facebook Live is not working. Just go and click on the kick.com/slash the devil seller, and it's very simple. Like it's no freaking rocket science. By now, everybody should know how to freaking use a freaking computer or like how to connect to a freaking website, like in order like to follow a stream live or something, right? So here we are. And in case if you missed it, of course it's gonna be recorded and it's gonna be also uploaded back like to YouTube as a backup in case of anything to my YouTube channel in youtube.com/slash the devil seller, right? And the rest of the album, of course, is gonna be also available at soundcloud.com/slash the devil seller. By the way, also the other music is gonna be available in other platforms like Apple Music, and it's gonna be available also for Spotify as well. Yes, exactly. Yeah, because Spotify doesn't pay you share for music, but I want the music out there because it's free. So I don't care. I just want my music to get out there, and hopefully you guys are able to share it and no egoistic by saying, "Oh yeah, I know some cool music," and that's it. Like I don't gonna tell you who it is. Stop that shit. Seriously, a lot of people they do that shit, and to this day nobody's freaking cool of anything. So please share the music. You know something cool, share it. If you like it, if you enjoy it so much, other people might want to enjoy it as well. So here we go with my second album, and thank you for everyone, to the friends, family, especially my wife Suji, for helping me out with this, with the development of this second album as well. Because this album it turned out like actually to a different direction to it was compared to the first one. So you will see the reason why. I'm gonna stop my comments right now. And what I say, yeah, enjoy the music. Here we go with the second album of the Insomnia. Enjoy here directly from the Devil Cellar Studios.
illusion or just reality. Wish I never woke up from it. Wish I was never disturbed. All I wanted was to define it, all on my own. Find the answers I always looked for. Find the meaning of living in peace. Come to the realization of our own existence. Come to the realization that everything around us and all of this is just another dream.
And that was it for the album from the InsomAniac called SpektRoom. So that was my second release that I completed during this year. Uh, but they say, beyond the explanations I have to do for this, consists in the following because like the first album, many of the tracks they were basically I was working in the composition sometime between like a year 2019 until 2025 kind of thing, 2024, sorry, because it got released a year ago. And the thing is, what I did is, in regards to the compositions of the Insomaniac, like for the second album, I say to myself, you know what? I'm gonna going all the way to my entire catalog of things that I reserved from year 2011 up to now, up to like December of 2025. Okay, to see like how much I can put together to release another album and to see how much material I have left over. So what I decided to do is I decided to go slowly, carefully, like going like through each composition I already have reserved as a sketch, like through my electronic device that's called the PS Vita. Exactly that one, the video game system, right? Excuse me. And many of the things that actually I've been doing is because most of the compositions I was able like to write them through there. At the same time, like I wouldn't say I fully rely in the entire system like for me like to release to make this kind of music. I also like put like original stuff that I play myself, like the piano compositions, the acoustic guitar, and the other things that I had to add extra. Especially like if you guys notice at one point, like on the second track of this album, I use my electric guitar as well, and I use the bass because it's something I got to learn from year 2021 up to now. So I mean, like, I kind of applying much more instruments compared to what I would do in the first album, right? Especially like a kind of trying to understand too that I didn't want to oversaturate certain instruments that I specialize in applying for the that represent what the Insomaniac stands for or the kind of sound like a signature that it has on it. I didn't want to overuse certain things that I applied on the first album because I'm preserving it for other albums, other compositions I'm gonna be doing later on, right? And the thing is, what I did mainly, if I had to walk you through each one of the songs that actually, like I just say, of the 11 songs that I just play you for now, right? Okay, the first one, the one that starts with the wind and it, it's called By the Coast of Laments. Now, the coast is a play of, I like to play with the title. See, like the reason why also makes me a very original artist on my own, right? I believe I'm an original artist too because I try to break through the tempo or through the rules that actually many like they try to like stand for in regards to music. That like the tempos, like I just say I don't use a metronome. I use my heartbeat. That's it. I play everything with my heartbeat. Like too bad if it goes derail along the way or something like that. One way or the other, it catches up to what I need to actually. It features the purpose, right? Like for what it's standing for, right? And the first song, like by the you can say by the coast of Laments. Basically, like it's the same thing like how I finished the previous song, the track number 8 in the first album Genesis. Basically, it finishes with acoustic guitar, but then I wanted to start this album with the acoustic guitar as well because I wanted like to represent that there was a continuation, there was a connection between like these two albums, right? So if you listen to Genesis and then to Spectrum, you will see actually sometimes it can just be a perfect full length album, like only as one if it's necessary, right? But at the same time, what I decided to do is like I stuff like call it the Lake of Tears or Lago de Lágrimas, how they call it initially. And this one I decided to call it by the coast of Laments. But in between coast, I put it coast because I wanted to make it look like it was in the shore of Laments, on the same shore where it was the Lake of Tears, that where you could see on the first episode, the same on the first song that I played previously, right? Then on the second track, Agonia Perpetua. Agonia Perpetua, like it's a freaking that's where I added like the electric guitar, I added the bass, I added drums to it. Like I programmed the drums because I don't really play drums. Kind of I was trying to get a little bit of a notch to it, but I kind of just there's so much thing. Like I said, time is so limited. I'll say many things that you can do or whatnot, right? And then what else like but that song like it kind of when I first started to play it, just what inspired me first it was my project that I have aside that's called Templo of Satana, which is a black doom metal band that I have, right? That I still like actually like working in a lot of the compositions of it now that I play guitar. And the thing is, when I decided to actually like to this song actually was going to go for the part of the album that I composed for Templo of Satana, but then I was thinking, you know what? No, I'm gonna leave it for this. I'm gonna reserve it. It was first going to be for DJ Nocturne for another album that I was going to release. I'm still working on the second album of DJ Nocturne. I haven't released actually 14 years or so. The thing is, I decided to keep this track and say, okay, this is what I'm gonna apply for the next one. Like, it kind of for whatever album comes out, right? Because there's so much you can say. Like, it kind of sometimes you have to be carefully selective with the songs. And there were so many songs that actually I left outside. So actually, I was saying I wanted to integrate to this album, but I just say simply you just can't put everything all together. You have to divide it, right? So like as I say to you guys, of course, you know already I started to work on my already on my third album, so I got already my tracks ready for that. Like you say, what I'm working on and what I want to be adding eventually. But that was Agonia Perpetua. Like it reminded me a lot of this Pink Floyd kind of a sensation to it. Like it was like I really enjoy working with a song so much, especially from Darkness. From Darkness, like there were some things that I added to it. Uh, that third track is like a kind of a even I did some of the sounds like the mechanical sounds. I did it with my own sound effects mouse basically, like a kind of a just to make it kind of sound like I don't know, like a almost like the Terminator. I was always thinking like, yeah, I want to do something like a kind of like a track that sounds like a Terminator style or something like that. So it makes you feel that you are in the depths of hell kind of thing at the same time. Like it has like a such a multiple meaning, but I love that. I totally enjoyed making that track, especially when I had to do the like which is actually something between there, right? But of course, the river helps you out much more to make it sound like a much more like a machine, right? Then I got what is it? This song actually in the Gardens of Eternity, I wrote it downstairs. Like a kind of a, I wrote it when I first got my space, like when I got my warehouse. I was like a kind of a, I set up my keyboards and I started like to just to record to my phone like this thing, this piece that I had in the mind, right? I wanted to see how it sounded like out loud in this 18 feet tall warehouse that I have. And holy shit, like the song was so cool. And one day, kind of, I'm revisiting the song, and I go like, "Wow, this thing sounds so fucking cool. Like, how am I gonna call it?" Like, and the whole idea came up like when my wife and I we are actually like sleeping, and it was probably about 5 in the morning with the skylight that we have here in our room. Suddenly, we hear these birds making this cool sounds. So, you know, they're already awake, and you know, before the rooster, if you wanna say or something, right? And I said to my wife like to remain quiet because I'm gonna record the sound of the bird on the skylight. So I just go press the phone, go and record it exactly like to what they have to say the little bird, right? And that's exactly what I used for the introduction of the in the Gardens of the Eternity. In the Gardens of Eternity, like the concept of it too, like a kind of a it made me think of this like you're working in a large garden, like a kind of a not necessarily like an enclosed one, but like kind of a this all type of a you know like trees, flowers, animals, and especially you see this kind of like a sirens, if you want to say, kind of like that they are kind of like leading you along the way where you're walking to, like towards who knows exactly where you're going to, right? And you don't know what you're gonna find along the way, and the continuation of it. Like once you reach the final pass, it's basically you find yourself like when you hear like the sound of the horses in the middle of the rain and stuff like that. That's where like a kind of a it has something like the Sleepy Hollow out of nowhere because the whole concept of this album like of the spectrum is a freaking it's like a nightmare and a dream at the same time. And I decided to call the title like for the Sleepy Hollow song type a haunted and withered forest. When I actually like came up with this title like where I was or the first time I was thinking of it, I was thinking of calling it the I was going to call it the Chase of Restless Souls, and but it was a 2K metal at the same time, right? Like a kind of like a, which is actually like I was trying to just follow with the guidance of what I was trying to do for the storyline, for the concept for the album the Insomniac. And once I did that, like kind of it starts to sound like a slow, and then starts building up, right? Like a whole symphony, like with violins and all of that, right? And with a sinister voice in the middle, like a kind of I can hear them coming, kind of thing, right? And I kind of things that like it gets more intense along the way, right? So that's the concept about the whole, like it kind of for me, it was like a the Sleepy Hollow kind of soundtrack, if you wanna say, or something like that. It wasn't technically thinking about that first, but then like the more I listened to it, like my ambition at the time was like I wrote it with the PS Vita. That's not, of course, like put it all together. And I was thinking, you know what? I want to start fucking writing like my own basic symphony, if you want to say, right? So I started like to put all that shit together, and I don't know. I'm satisfied with it. Like if I can add more to it, it's something I can think later on because, of course, I'm gonna be like remaking a lot of the songs as well in the future because it's an ambitious thing of me that I can do like a much more with it as well, right? And then but you know, sometimes you gotta kind of measure yourself up, like when it comes to composition between like you know, like sometimes I can be the kind of guy to say the more, but you can round about it because there are certain things that you gotta balance out and you gotta take or give. So it all depends, right, on the composition. Then the song Cavernas, which is actually stands for caverns or caves, right? And that song also like it was fully written on the PSP, and like at the same time like those kind of like the congos or the djembe that I added to it, like that was actually like added by myself and all of that, the grounds, all of things like that. That you can tell like a kind of there were certain different kind of elements, especially not just that, but you could notice actually about the hammering and the dragging of chains. All I did was actually to grab a metal bottle that I have with me fulfilled with half of water, up to like a halfway of it. And then I grabbed my keychain and just basically I started to rattle the keys, right? That I had, that was like, right? And then like I hit it like with the stick that I have, the handle that I have for my keys. I just would hit the bottle. I would produce that sound. It's almost like hammering, like on rocks or metal or anything like that, right? So, and that song actually I remember well because I created it back in year 2013. So I was living on my own. I came from a separation at the time, and I just like myself, I was like on the vibe of a. I wrote the album of a DJ Doctor, Arcade Land at the time, but also I was working on doing something extra, like to start making like sound effects and things like that. So there you go. Like that's one thing that actually like kind of I'm still working on, and I'm gonna be doing during this winter as well, right? Then the song Nebula. The song Nebula was very simple, like a kind of a just like it came from an idea that I had these visions. One day, like I wanted to create some like a abstract art and for printing that I haven't released yet, but I released it on video. So if you search for the video, like an Insomaniac, the visions of the Insomaniac, like a Nebula, like that's an explanation of it, like when it gives you the two terms about like a one nebula is a significance about like in astronomy, and at the same time what it means like a kind of in anatomy as well, like a kind of when you have like this spot over here like a float in your eye or something, right? And you have like a different vision or concept of things, right? So yeah, no, like another fun track to do like a kind of idea, right? And with the PSP, that one actually was great with the keyboards. I used only one keyboard for that, right? And then the rest of it, like I just was modifying the different sound effects, so, like doing all the tricks, right? And SpektRoom, like the main title, which is the track number 8. That's basically I was thinking, okay, when you decide a title, sometimes like sometimes you wanna play with the words too, because someone else like could pick up the name or like a kind of a myself. I always research out there. I don't want to take the creations or names of other people out there because it's disgusting. It's a lack of originality. I find it. Like people are fucking disgusting out there, especially in the music industry, big time. One of the reasons why like I try to keep my things like to my own and kind of a contribute or collaborate with a certain few that I sense like a good energy from them that basically it's not costing me a coin. At the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna pay people for doing a favor to me, but the majority of the things I do on my own is just like a kind of a, for someone to help me out to publish it. Things like put it in the digital patterns, like a kind of on in this case Spotify or anything else. Like I write to talk to someone directly, and kind of a who I have a friend already taking care of that situation, and I'm also compensating this friend for that for basically like putting my stuff online, right? So I can be able to deserve like a more of a spotlight, let's say. And the thing is, SpektRoom, let's say, like a kind of the significance of it, like when I first chose the name of it, is because the cover artwork actually like shows a little bit of it. It's kind of like a during that time when I appeared in that image over there on the cover artwork, actually it was a I shaved my head bald. Like I was only like a 33 years old at the time. And what happened is, no, I was 32 actually. That was during the time I started to write all this music, kind of thing, like a few of the tracks. What happened is, I wanted to make it something like a kind of like a to feel like a ghost image, like kind of like a make it fluorescent or something like that, or multiple colors representing on it in a band of colors, but at the same time, I wanted to like come through like a kind of almost like a war or be like an apparition because what happens the word spectrum it has a different meaning. Like for example, I'm gonna read you one of the meanings. It's like a kind of a that you need to know because it's a noun, right? That basically the plural noun is a spectra, and a plural noun also is known as a spectrum. But at the same time, like one of the significance of it is actually it's a band of colors as seen in a rainbow, produced by separation of the components of light by their different degrees of refraction according to wavelength. All right. So the entire range of wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation, like it can be known as an spectrum. Now the other thing, but I was thinking about the Latin word in Spanish. What actually like means like where it comes this word from exactly? It comes from the Latin word spectrum or spezier, right? But a spectrum would be more of an image or an apparition as well. So that's exactly what I try to represent. It's something more like a in the phantasmo, phantasmagorical way, if you want to, phantasmagoric, if you want to say something like a more like a that has a, it's like a ghost apparition kind of thing, right? Because as you say, like as I said before, many of the music that I write about is like it's about coping with grief internally and eternally as well. And I kind of for what happened to my father and what happened to my good friend that they passed away in different seasons, years, right? But I still like how much it affected me in the past few years. Actually, like it was like something like really heavy, and you guys know about that. And myself, like I can say, like after the release of Genesis, I was able to cope up with the grief of the death of both of my father and my good friend as well. That I could cope up much better compared to what it was like in the past before because before it wasn't easy at all. It was like like went through my crappy times and I was like endless crying, endless suffering, endless pain, right? So, but I came to that point that actually I came to an end with it, and I'm really glad about it. So, thinking back there about Spectrum, a phantasmagorical kind of appearance, like a ghost related, right? So that's what it is basically. It's kind of like a, something that can reflect in a room. So that was the idea that it's something like a kind of you expected it out of nowhere. You're in a room and suddenly kind of like you are thinking about things and sometimes you can be in the dark and you can be listening to music or you can be listening to anything or you can be drinking, doing drugs or doing anything whatever it is, and then suddenly you feel a certain, you sense like it's something like someone is watching you or someone like it kind of appears out of nowhere. So it's like the expectation almost in a room, or like just the appearance in a room itself, right? So kind of like how it's gonna appear this phantasmagoric image, right? So like that's what I try to put together when it comes to the music of actually what I make. It's like about like a when I say like a grief is internal and eternal, like how we cope up with it, right? So there are many ways of representing that kind of well, if we can actually have interaction with the far beyond like a with people who actually passed away before, right? So that's the reason why like these albums are dedicated mainly to people that they were related to me it can happen to any of you as well. Like probably you have lost like a relative, and then suddenly kind of you try to find the best ways actually to cope up with it, and then suddenly I always say, like, and I learned that a long time ago. Music is the soundtrack of our lives. Sometimes, like, it is music for anything, whatever, like, you're going through. There is a soundtrack. There is a song for it. There are lyrics for it. There is an album dedicated fully to it. So that's the reason why, like, I enjoy like making this music as well. And even though, like, a kind of a like in you might think, oh, this is like a horror soundtrack, like a type of thing, like a kind of the second album. Actually, it did take like a darker turn, especially in the title Alignment that I tried to put all together as well. And I how kind of the title say they were deserving for each song that I lined up over there, right? But not everything like is all dark as well, because at the same time, like a kind of after SpektRoom, we went to the ninth track, which is actually called Crystal Skies. And Crystal Skies is actually like almost like a what you see in the end of the line, basically, of all the reflections, all the imagery, the phantasmagorical stuff that you witness, then silently kind of like it's almost like a light in the darkness, right? Like a kind of at the end of the tunnel, you see this light, and basically like it clarifies, it gives you a clearer sight mind of the different things like actually you went through. It's almost like the end of the line if you wanna say it, right? But at the same time, it's kind of like a satisfying illusion of like a kind of that you wanna have like in the end of after going through so much darkness or something. Like it's kind of like the sense of liberation if you wanna say, right? But Crystal Skies is something like a kind of like our minds basically build up, right? So, and then after Crystal Skies, I have this beautiful saying in between, right? That you got to hear over there because I was trying to actually come to the realization if I was trapped in a dream, in a nightmare, who am I? You know, like am I living? You know, am I alive? Am I dead? Kind of thing. So basically, like it's like sometimes that confusion that a lot of people they go through, especially when they reach a certain level or a level partner in their life, right? So kind of you wanna kind of come to a conclusion or understand like hey like the character I have formed I have developed is because of the things I went through, right? So that explains a little bit more like and then it starts like the following song, then the 10th song that is called Just Another Dream. And it's true, so it's just like a kind of sometimes in life in the way we live it actually we wake up and it feels like it just needed another dream. Like we don't know exactly like sometimes it's hard to actually like to realize to distinguish actually like when it comes like between like a dream or living in real life or anything like that, right? So we don't know exactly like how it is. Like one thing is for sure, like for what is saying, like life is an illusion, only death is real, right? Because kind of that's where basically you truly wake up and you realize basically like how things are you're truly living. You feel like a kind of a more liberated from everything for what you're going through life, right? And so it's something like a kind of it's personal. I cannot define it for you. You cannot define it for me. So at the same time, like that's why like in my conquest of songs on the whole concept I was writing for the spectrum, I was trying to actually like define it because it's not fully defined yet. It's a long journey, and actually that's something I have to see if I be able to find the answers in the following albums, right? And then the last song that I have over here is called Memorias de Nuestro Atico, which actually means memoirs of our attic. And this song it was mainly dedicated for my wife Suji and myself because of our lives when we first started to live together. When we came into Unity, and we have been also like together for 12 years and 2 months already of Unity, right? And what happens is when you have this thing like a kind of a when you start with little and nothing, basically. You know, I after my separation, I was living with a family who helped me out in Stony Creek to get back on my feet. After 8 months living with them, I decided to move over here back to Hamilton, to the city I live in. And then basically, like a year after, I started to date Suji, right? We were dating from the distance for about a year. And then after that, like I remember, I was living only in a small room in a student house. And then after that, what I did is I moved to a bachelor apartment on the second floor of a house. And then like Suji decides to actually move in with me, and we start our life together. And that was right in 2014. And then after that, basically Suji and I we moved to this other place. I was actually that's where my whole realization of fantasies and dreams and everything what I have nowadays is started to take formation, right? Like my business, like everything, kind of what I do with the Devil Cellar, with the pop culture market, like the many things actually that came to formation, and it's because of our unity as well. So the thing is that's time to bring more to us the main things actually brought us much more together, and everything for everything we have achieved it started much more there. I would say that was our pinnacle of the things where we I started to develop my own little ideas for a business, this and that, what I wanted to do, and guess what? I still carry on with everything what I do, and now the other thing too, especially this year, excuse me, it changed my life a way because I got a job to work his season as an archaeologist. It's something kind of I never expected. It came out of nowhere, and I did the best of myself, and I qualified for it, and still carry on. And basically now I'm on vacation, and I'm gonna go back to work in May again, right, for another season. So let's see how things go. But that was a new experience for me, and I'm super thankful about that, especially to my sister Liz, because she's the one who actually referred me to this job. And the thing is, it really changed my life for the better. And the thing about being the insomniac came kind of to an end in a way during that season between May and November because I had to wake up really fucking early every day. Okay, so I couldn't pull out these all nighters anymore where I was creating music. Where sometimes I would spend a time writing music until a freaking 6 in the morning, and stuff like that. And then we'll go to bed and then wake up in the next evening or shit like that. I cannot do it anymore, right? But I do it during the winter because it's a given. But whenever it comes between May and November, I was like, no, fuck the rest. I'm just gonna do my discipline stuff. I cannot even write music at the moment. I just wanna fully concentrate to what I'm doing, to the stuff of the whole archaeology stuff, right? I wanna learn this something new, making my lifestyle, right? Making my thing, the bread and butter that actually I have nowadays. And I want to actually write music whenever I have the time, which is actually during the winter, and this is the proper time for it. And here I am. I released my freaking second album for the InsomAniac, which is actually, in a way, I want to thank everybody, especially my wife Suji, for all her support, patience. I help and everybody actually, my friend Dimitrios Maliaros as well for giving me, motivation about it. You know, like many of my friends as well, Berto, kind of many friends that I have around basically that they can listen to my music, James, Eric, I mean, I cannot name everybody, but all I say is that it's dedicated to everyone who has followed and supported me over the years, and at the same time, especially friends and family and everyone around, who has witnessed this actually, what I have developed over the years, right? Because it has been difficult, I never thought actually I was going to the point that I was going to become a recording artist, but it was something I always wanted to be in a way. I always had this idea since I was younger too. But I stopped actually, I started to dedicate more time to myself and to discipline myself more with the things that I have and work and give it the full use to it and work with what I have. And then I kind of carry on with it. So if I'm doing it right, if I'm able to stand up this day and do this kind of things that's so unique, why the fuck not to carry on with it? The same it goes to anybody out there. It kind of wants to be achievable. If you are putting effort into something that you are creating and you think it might not be accepted by the rest of the public, fuck it. You know what? First of all, you did it for yourself. You didn't do it actually for someone else to approve it. I didn't do this music actually to go and get some status reputation that I'm gonna be some fucking searching for fame and money and stuff like that. No, I don't care about any of those things to be honest. Just this experience of writing the music with of the Insomniac helped me out a lot to actually to come up with the grief, the internal pain that I was going through like in the past. I would say like 7 years in my life. So like actually like it has come to an end. And yeah, and I'm ready to actually to announce like the next album is gonna be called Triarchy, and fucking I got the title and I got the cover artwork done, and I got already like one quarter of the album already written, so I'm gonna carry on writing the music. Like who's gonna stop me for that, right? And I guess what, like this music is available for free in all the platforms. And if one day I decide to print out all the physical copies, yeah, guess what? Like it's gonna be on Digipack. I wanted something luxurious, it's something that people they can handle it, they take care of it, handle it well, keep it, listen to it, But things like that, like it just I work in different ways and mysterious ways, and I like that. I enjoyed it, like and that's not gonna stop ever. So that's the reason why I take a lot of pride over every single thing I do, and I'm multifaceted. Like I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like I have no restrictions. Like I'm not harming anybody. I'm not doing anything like wrong at all. And yeah, all I want is just like to keep creating music and kind of keep embracing and being constructive on the many things that I have. So yeah, I got lots to do. That's for sure. Woo! But once again, thank you so much actually for joining me in this transmission. I hope everybody's doing well. Like I kind of want to wish everybody a happy New Year's Eve. I'm not too excited about New Year's, but you know what? Sometimes kind of like you never know. It's just like I wasn't actually like too keen of celebrating, but we'll see. Whatever happens, whatever whatever the wind blows, just be a leaf in the wind. So like you kind of just let yourself carry away that way. Thank you so much, everybody. Stay heavy and stay better. I love you all. Thank you for listening to my album. My album is gonna be starting this midnight. It's gonna be available on SoundCloud and YouTube for you to listen to it. And this video as well is gonna be available on YouTube. So basically, you guys can go through it, like revisit whatever notes you wanna take or something, right? And thank you for everything. This was the InsomAniac with the album SpektRoom. All right. So take care. Thank you, everybody. Be well. Good night. Until next year. Bye.